Salvete omnes. Happy Monday. Laite dies, Felix dies lunae. This is Magister Hodges, and this is what you'll be doing today. I will not be here in the morning on Monday because I will be at a meeting at the county office, and I had remembered that just now. So, this week we're going to be reviewing everything we need to review because on Thursday and Friday this week, you guys will be working on your chapters, your exam over chapters 1 through 3, which is going to cover pretty much everything we've done this year. I'll be knowing how to identify the declension of a noun, to put how to fully decline a noun, what the major cases that we've learned so far mean, like if a noun is nominative, how's that different from the genitive or the accusative, or even the ablative sometimes, though you won't be assessed on the ablative, as well as verbs and their endings, and what do those different endings mean, and how do we figure out who's doing an action, and also just general vocab and the ability to read. This test is going to look a lot like your first test that you guys took. And I'm actually going to hit the pause button here real quick so I can pull that up. And so I can show you all later. But first I will show you guys everything that you'll be doing today. So let me pause this real quick and get this thing set up. All right, so here is your exam, pretty much what it'll look like. The first one, this was the Chapter 1 exam. You'll be given your test as well as a packet of stories that we have read and one that is brand new. There'll be some easier stories, some medium stories, and some harder stories. And you can kind of pick and choose what you're going to do for different points, and we'll explain that a little more later. I'm going to clean this section up to make it a little more straightforward, but it'll be generally the same. You'll choose for part 1, you'll choose a story, and you can either choose to illustrate or translate it. And the goal here is to show me not only do you understand the main idea of the passage, that gets you the basic points, but the more detail that you can also point out, that'll move it even higher up into the intermediate range. And intermediate low is what we're going for. The rubric is down here. Part 2 will be the infamous part where you have to roll a die 5 times, pick a story, and that the number that you rolled on the dice will determine what Latin word you're going to be defining, and then you will be translating or paraphrasing the rest of the sentence in which it occurs. Part 3, you'll be asked to sort out words from all of the stories into basically showing me, can you recognize their grammatical structure? This is from stage 1 or chapter 1, so this will be updated a little bit to have a couple of different things, such as like genitive case nouns or first or second declension nouns, or different types of verbs. And then the last part, you'll be given 2 different nouns, a first declension noun and a second declension noun, and you will be asked to fully decline it with this chart provided for you. I have given you the steps right here. And that'll basically be it. I'm considering adding a 5th part that is extra credit that can be used for additional points, where you can answer how you're doing today and why, similar, and also to tell me the weather outside, similar to how we've done in our warm-ups. That is how that's what the test will look like. So to prepare for it, got a couple things going on today. The first thing, if you look at the planner, whoops, wrong one, says that you are going to grab a worksheet off of the top shelf over the stories Mercator and Intraclinio, which we've been looking at the last couple days. And I will pull that worksheet up right here. So the first worksheet looks like this. You get 6 questions written in Latin, and you are going to tell me, your first job is to, I guess, figure out what it's asking, and then 2, to answer in a Latin sentence. So let me give you an example of how that'll work. Let's look at number 1, quim, and this is over the story Mercator, as it says up here. So in Mercator, it says quim amicus visitat. So first off, figuring out what this question's asking. Okay, quim. Some of you may remember this. I've asked this as a question before. Quim is the Latin word for whom, and as we've discussed, whom is just in English basically the accusative form of who. Remember, if something's accusative, that means it's receiving the action. So we have quem, whom, amicus, friend, visitat, visits. Whom does the friend visit? Well, if you remember at the beginning of the story, it says amicus Caecilium visitat. Well, that answers who's being visited, right? Caecilius is being visited. Who is he being visited by? The friend. So the friend visits Caecilius. So the best answer would be something like amicus Caecilium visitat. So we're just basically rephrasing the question and replacing quem with the person who's being visited. And since Caecilius is the one being visited, he will be in the accusative case. And that's basically what you're doing. I have an answer key for this that you guys will have access to. We'll talk about that on Tuesday when I'm back. The other questions should be able to figure it out. Just want to point out this one down here, coius, meaning whose. So it's like whose house is it? Whoever's house it is, that is the genitive case, right? So whenever you figure out whose house it is, you're just going to look at their name, make it genitive, and say it is this person's house. And then the second worksheet on the back, you will see 4 pictures, 4 random pictures I took off the internet. And it says, find the sentence in the story in triclinio that best matches each picture. Here we have a guy holding a peacock. Here we have a chef looking pretty happy. Over here we have someone singing and a bunch of people asleep. Jigglypuff, shout out. And then over here we have a little, looks like a little romance sparking. So see if you can find the sentences in here in the story that best match these. We'll go over this on Tuesday as well. And you can just kind of, I didn't give you guys the most space to write it, but just kind of fit it in the blanks on here. And that will be the story review over the last couple stories we've read. Once you finish that, it says that you should move on to the review activities, which I should probably move up. I'm going to replace this link with the link to the actual activities. This is them right here. It says chapters 1 through 3 retractatio, or chapters 1 through 3 review. And this starts on page 43 in the textbook. And it basically covers each thing that, each part that we've learned in our so far this year. So noun declension practice, you're given 4 nouns, and it wants you to take each of these 4 and fully decline them, similar to how we see in our notes. Let me go back and show you an example. You're going to want it to end up looking like this, right? For each word. So identify the declension, write it out, follow the steps, find the stem, add the endings, and then translate, and that will be that'll be all for exercise 1. You do that with those 4 nouns. Exercise 2 is the same thing, but with verbs. It says conjugate the verbs, give the Latin infinitive and the meaning for the verb. So the example here is the verb amo, amare, amavi, amatum. We're only worried about these first 2 parts, I love and to love. You give the infinitive, amare, to love, and then you fully conjugate it, amo, amas, amat, amamus, amatis, amant. And those endings are important. Remember, ost, mustis, unt. If it ends with O, that means I'm doing it. S means you are doing it. T means he, she, or it is doing it. Mus means we're doing it. Tis means y'all are doing it. And inti means they are doing it. So you're going to fully conjugate these 4 verbs like amo up here with their meanings. Then it gets a little more complicated. Exercise 3 gives you a blank and then a word, and you are going to have to figure out the best way to make this word fit. So we have blank naramus. So, and we want to fill it in with some plural version of fabula. So we know a fabula is a story, and naramus we know is some form of tell. Well, it ends with mus. That means we tell. Okay, well, the stories aren't doing the telling. The stories are being told. So that means that fabula is going to be accusative. We're going to make it accusative plural. And so the answer for number 1 here would be fabulas. Fabulas naramus, meaning we tell stories. And so it's like basically being able to look at a sentence in context and figuring out how to best make this word fit in here. You'll notice number 2 is a little different. Tu amicum videre. Videre means to see. And so tu amicum videre, you, friend. We want to be able to say see. Tu is the subject. Amicum is receiving the action. So we want to change this to you see the friend. So what ending would you see at the end of this word if you are the one doing the seeing? And yeah, so that's basically it. Fill in the blank, try and translate the sentence. We'll go over this on Tuesday as well. Exercise 4 is pretty similar. You have 9 words up here in this box, and you have 9 blanks down here. You are filling in each box with one of these words, and just the one that makes the most sense to finish the story. This is not directly being assessed on the test, but if you are able to do this, that means you have a pretty good understanding of the vocabulary. This is really just glorified vocabulary practice. It can be a little difficult, but I'd be interested to see how y'all do. All right, exercise 5 is genitive practice. In each pair of nouns, change the second one into the genitive using the number indicated in parentheses, translate each phrase. So you're given ager, amicus, plural. So that means we want to take this word, amicus, and make it genitive plural. Turns into ager amicorum, meaning the field of the friends or the friends field. Okay. So animi poeta, that's souls. And this is poet. We want to make it of the poets. So how would poeta change to become the souls of the poets? So on and so forth. And then lastly, a little translation practice. Here is basically all down here. All of this writing is to explain and set up this little 2-sentence poem written by a dude named Marshall. It's actually called an epigram. No mote stabili, nec possum dicere quaere, hoc tantum possum dicere, non omote. So just be able to see if you can translate this. Got some helpful vocabulary down here. And that's the review. We'll be working on that Monday and Tuesday. We'll go over it on Tuesday. And our exam will start on Thursday. And if needed, it will finish up on Friday. And that's basically what I got for y'all. Oh yeah, one last thing. If you are addicted to Blooket or just want to review the vocabulary, I have also left behind a master vocabulary review on Blooket. This has every word that we've learned, including the most recent ones for the 2 stories. So all in total, this is reviewing 107 words that we have learned this year. They're all important. They're all useful. So hopefully this was helpful. Miss y'all, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Walete.